Hello again, it's me, Sherry from What Children Really Want. Would you like to hear a fairy tale? This is an audio story, which means you won't see the pictures. You'll just see a nice screen with some twinkling stars on it. So just relax and listen to the story of 4 Red Caps. Murray was a ship's carpenter who lived in the village of Kintail in Scotland. One day he needed a piece of wood to mend a hole in his own boat, so he set out for the forest. Murray couldn't find exactly what he was looking for, and before he knew it, a mist had come down and the sun was sinking below the trees. Murray had been in the forest before, and he suspected that there was no shelter to be found. Imagine how surprised he was to see a light shining through the trees. Following it, he came to an old hut and knocked at the door. The door creaked open and an old wizened face looked out. "Can you give me shelter?" asked Murray. "I've lost my way and the mist is as thick as porridge."
"Step inside and I'll ask my sisters," said the old woman.
The 2 old women were toasting bannocks at a peat fire.
"Look what the wind's blowed in,"
said the first old hag.
"It's a wild night. Let him have our bed. We won't be using it tonight."
cackled her sister. Gratefully, Murray drank some hot tea and ate a bannock before following the old woman to the bedroom, where he soon fell asleep. He was woken by the old woman rummaging in a chest in the room. As Murray watched, she pulled out a red cap, put it on and cried,
"Here's off to London town!"
With a great whoosh, she disappeared up the chimney. Of course, Murray realised with a start. The old women were witches. Murray watched as the other 2 old women followed suit, on with a red cap each, and whoosh, whoosh, up the chimney with a
"He's off to London town!"
Leaping out of bed, Murray looked in the chest. 1 red cap was left. At once he slapped it on his head and called out, "Here's off to London town!" He found himself lifted up the chimney and, before he could catch his breath, sat down in a bright and noisy tavern. Over at a table, the 3 old women sat drinking. Murray joined them. After a while, the first old woman rose to her feet, put on her red cap and said,
"Here's back to Kintail!"
Whoosh, and she was gone. Her sisters followed closely behind. Whoosh, whoosh. Murray was about to follow when the serving girl came up and asked for money. None of the old women had paid for their drink, and Murray had drunk a fair bit himself. "Here's back to Kintail!" he cried. But the red cap was lying on the floor where it had fallen, and Murray stayed firmly where he was. He was taken off to the magistrate to explain himself. "How do you come to be in such a state and so far from home?" asked the magistrate. "It was all the witch's fault," said Murray, and that was his big mistake. "Witches! Black magic!" cried the people, and the magistrate said, "To the gallows with him!" The rope was round Murray's neck. He put his hands in his pockets to stop them trembling. But what was this he felt? The red cap! Someone in the tavern must have stuffed it in his pocket as he left. "Have you a last wish?" asked the magistrate. "Yes, let me put on my old red cap one last time before I die," said Murray. It was no sooner on his head than he called out, "Here's back to Kintail!" and he was whooshed up and away. A moment later he found himself back in his workshop, the gallows plank still at his feet. "That's just the piece of wood I was looking for to mend my boat," said Murray. He took it to the boat at once and it fitted exactly. "It's magic," said Murray to himself, and it would be a foolish person who would disagree. Thank you for listening to Storytime with me, Sherry. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!